What if the smartest car you could buy right now is the one everyone is ignoring? There are 3 hybrid vehicles sitting on used car lots across the country, priced incredibly low, and almost nobody is picking them up because of rumors, outdated reputations, or just plain ignorance. And that is a mistake that could cost the average car buyer thousands of dollars over the next 5 years. Today we are going to tear apart the truth behind these forgotten machines, expose the engineering secrets hidden under their hoods, and reveal why the people who actually own them cannot stop talking about how underrated they are. We are going inside the data, the owner forums, the factory records, and the history books to bring you information most automotive channels are simply too lazy to dig up. This is not a listicle. This is a deep dive. If you are the kind of person who loves discovering things others miss, then you are in exactly the right place. Before we get into it, if you find this kind of content valuable, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button, and drop a comment below telling us which hybrid you think is the most underrated of all time. Every single comment gets read, and your input shapes what we cover next. Now, buckle up, because what you are about to find out about these 3 cars will completely change how you look at the used hybrid market. The first car on this list is the Honda Insight. And before you scroll away thinking you already know this one, hold on, because most people only know half the story. The original Honda Insight, launched in 1999, was actually the first mass-produced hybrid vehicle sold in the United States, beating the Toyota Prius to American shores by a full 6 months. It was a 2-seater with an aluminum body, a 1-liter 3-cylinder engine, and an electric assist motor that together produced around 73 horsepower, which sounds modest until you realize the car weighed barely over 1,800 pounds. The aerodynamics were so obsessively engineered that its drag coefficient of 0.25 was better than almost every production car on the planet at the time. Honda used a technology called integrated motor assist, which placed a thin electric motor between the gasoline engine and the transmission, a layout so clever that many engineers still consider it elegant even by today's standards. But here is where things get really interesting. The second-generation Insight, produced from 2009 to 2014, is the one currently sitting unsold on lots, and it carries none of the original's charm in the minds of buyers because it was unfairly branded as a Prius copycat. That comparison hurt its reputation badly. But owners of the second-gen Insight report real-world fuel economy consistently hitting 40 to 43 miles per gallon in mixed driving, and reliability records from that era show engine and drivetrain problems are exceptionally rare. Most drivers never realize this car uses a simpler, lighter hybrid system than the Prius, which actually means fewer components that can fail over time. The Insight is sitting cheap right now precisely because it looks too ordinary to excite anyone. And that is exactly why it belongs on this list. Now let's talk about a car that had one of the strangest launch stories in modern automotive history, and whose reputation never quite recovered from a single, brutal winter. The Ford Fusion Hybrid, built between 2010 and 2012, was celebrated by engineering journalists as a genuine technological leap for an American automaker. Ford developed its own hybrid system in-house rather than licensing Toyota's technology, and the result was a drivetrain that used a continuously variable transmission paired with a 2.5-liter Atkinson cycle 4-cylinder engine and a 106-kilowatt electric motor, delivering a combined 191 horsepower with EPA ratings of 41 miles per gallon in the city. That city fuel economy number was actually higher than the Toyota Camry Hybrid and the Hyundai Sonata Hybrid when it launched, and automotive press outlets called it the most impressive domestic hybrid ever built at that point. But what happened next shocked everyone. A series of early reports about battery cooling problems in extreme cold climates started circulating, and despite Ford issuing a software update that largely resolved the issue, the damage to public perception was done. Used prices dropped, dealer enthusiasm faded, and the car quietly became one of the most overlooked hybrid sedans of its generation. What makes this even crazier is that long-term reliability data collected from insurance claims and repair records shows the 2010 to 2012 Fusion Hybrid actually has a lower than average major repair frequency compared to its non-hybrid counterparts. The hybrid battery, sourced from Sanyo and later Panasonic, proved far more durable than early critics suggested. If you find one of these in good condition today, you're looking at a full-size American hybrid sedan with legitimate fuel savings potential and a reliability track record that its bargain price absolutely does not reflect. There is a pattern forming here, and it is fascinating. Every single one of these cars was punished not by mechanical failure, but by perception. A bad review here, a viral complaint there, and suddenly a genuinely good vehicle gets condemned to the discount bin. And the people who actually bought them kept quietly driving 40+ miles per gallon while everyone else paid premium prices for trendier alternatives. That gap between reputation and reality is where the smart money has always lived in the used car world. If you are watching this and feeling like you are getting a real insider look at the automotive market, share this video with someone who is currently shopping for a car, because this information could genuinely save them thousands of dollars. Drop a comment below telling us which fact surprised you the most so far. Subscribe if you have not already, and hit the like button so more people can discover this content. Now, the third car on this list might be the most controversial pick of all, and the engineering story behind it is one that almost nobody in the mainstream automotive space has ever properly told. But before we get there, we need to talk about something that the other two cars share. A hidden ownership advantage that most used car buyers completely miss, and it has to do with how hybrid batteries actually age compared to what manufacturers and dealers want you to believe. Here is something the used car industry does not advertise. Hybrid batteries in vehicles from the late 2000s and early 2010s were designed with significantly conservative charge and discharge limits, meaning the battery cells were almost never pushed to their true chemical extremes during normal operation. Toyota, Honda, and Ford all adopted this strategy after studying lithium-ion degradation curves, and the result is that a well-maintained hybrid battery from 2010 with 120,000 miles on it might still be operating at 80 to 85% of its original capacity, which is more than enough for full hybrid functionality. The Fusion Hybrid and the Insight both use nickel metal hydride chemistry, which is actually more forgiving under temperature extremes than lithium-ion despite being older technology. Studies from hybrid taxi fleets in major cities found that NEV batteries in Prius and Insight-type vehicles regularly surpassed 200,000 miles before requiring any significant intervention. This completely destroys the most common objection people raise when they see a used hybrid, which is the fear of a battery replacement bill. Replacement NEV packs for the second-gen Insight and the Fusion Hybrid have also dropped dramatically in price as the aftermarket has matured, with refurbished units available for well under $1,000 in many markets. And then there is the third car on our list, the Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid from 2016 and 2017, which takes the battery anxiety conversation in a completely unexpected direction. Most people do not even know this car existed. Chevrolet built fewer than 5,000 units per year across its entire production run, making it one of the rarest hybrid sedans in American automotive history. And the reason it was rare has nothing to do with quality. The 2016 and 2017 Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid represents one of the most fascinating cases of corporate self-sabotage in modern automotive history, and the engineering inside this car deserves far more recognition than it ever received. General Motors licensed a version of the two-motor hybrid system originally developed for the Cadillac CT6 plug-in hybrid, scaled it down for a midsize sedan, and produced a drivetrain that could run in pure electric mode at speeds up to 55 miles per hour under light throttle conditions. That capability was almost unheard of in a standard parallel hybrid that was not a plug-in model. The system used two motor generators working in coordination with a 1.8-liter Ecotec engine and a 1.5 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery, achieving an EPA rating of 46 miles per gallon in the city, which at the time of its release was the highest city fuel economy rating ever achieved by a non-plug-in midsize sedan in the United States. Let that sink in. A Chevrolet, often mocked in hybrid discussions, quietly built the most fuel-efficient midsize hybrid sedan in America, and then proceeded to market it so quietly that most car buyers never knew it existed. Dealerships were given almost no training on how to demonstrate its features. Allocation numbers were kept intentionally low, and the advertising budget for the Malibu Hybrid was a fraction of what competitors spent promoting their hybrid lineups. There is a compelling argument that General Motors was prioritizing the Volt and Bolt programs and did not want the Malibu Hybrid cannibalizing customer interest away from its electric vehicle ambitions. But there is one detail almost nobody talks about when the Malibu Hybrid comes up, and it changes everything about how you should think about its value proposition today. The Malibu Hybrid's hybrid system shares significant architecture with technology that General Motors spent over $1 billion developing across multiple platforms, meaning its core components were engineered and stress-tested far beyond what a typical niche product would receive. Owner reports from the relatively small but passionate community of Malibu Hybrid drivers describe the transition between electric and gasoline power as almost imperceptibly smooth, smoother than many owners of competing Japanese hybrids describe their own cars feeling. The interior of the 2016 and 2017 models also benefited from a complete redesign that gave the Malibu one of the most refined cabins in its class, with available heated and cooled front seats, a quiet, well-insulated passenger compartment, and a MyLink infotainment system that, while not perfect, held its own against the era's competition. Because production numbers were so low, finding one in good condition requires patience, but the reward is a car that almost nobody recognizes on the street, that sips fuel at a rate that surprises everyone who drives it, and that can be purchased today for prices that would have seemed impossible for a car this capable just a decade ago. The Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid also benefits from something the automotive world rarely discusses openly, which is the psychological advantage of driving a car that carries zero hype. No one is waiting to steal it. Insurance rates are modest, and because demand is low, negotiating a fair price is genuinely straightforward without the bidding wars that follow more popular models. What makes this even crazier is that independent mechanics who have worked on these systems report that day-to-day mechanical costs for the Malibu Hybrid run very close to those of its standard gasoline-powered sibling, because the hybrid system was designed from the ground up to require minimal scheduled maintenance beyond what the combustion engine already demands. So here is the picture that has emerged across everything we have covered today. 3 hybrid cars, each punished by a different force, one by a copycat label it did not deserve, one by a cold weather story that software updates resolved, and one by the deliberate silence of its own manufacturer. Each one sitting at prices that reflect a market reputation built on incomplete information. Each one backed by engineering, longevity data, and real ownership experiences that tell a completely different story than the discount sticker on the windshield suggests. The Honda Insight rewards the patient buyer with bulletproof simplicity. The Ford Fusion Hybrid offers full-size comfort with genuinely impressive efficiency and a domestic hybrid pedigree that still holds up. And the Chevrolet Malibu Hybrid delivers a rare combination of sophistication, economy, and invisibility that is almost impossible to find at its current price point. The used car market is, at its heart, an information market. The buyers who win are the ones who dig deeper than the surface-level narrative, who read the engineering specs, study the long-term owner forums, and separate genuine mechanical risk from cultural baggage. You are now armed with information that a significant portion of used car buyers simply do not have. If this video opened your eyes to something you had never considered before, do us a favor and share it with someone who is in the market for a car right now, because the right information at the right moment can save people real money. Subscribe to the channel so you never miss a deep dive like this one. Hit the like button to help this reach more people who deserve to know the truth about the cars the market is sleeping on. And drop a comment below telling us which of these 3 you found most surprising, or if you own one of them. Share your experience because your story might be the most valuable thing in this entire comment section.